What's going on, people? Not for the radio. Myself, Duane, Posty, Chams, another special guest, another deep conversation. We got Mike GLC in the building. I know you've got a lot to say. You've been in this game for a minute. You've got to talk into the microphone now. Otherwise, the people won't believe you're here because they can't hear you. Anyway, so what's been going on, man?
I'm here. I always like to start conversations with that. I'm here.
You're here.
You know, the way there.
Definitely been through a lot.
Which one? The last year or the year before that? Or the year before that? Or the year before that?
Let's start from the TOP, man. You got to break it down. What's been going on?
Well, obviously, I had a mad year last year. So, business-wise, life-wise, law-wise, how we...
You know what the people want to know. We want to know firsthand, like, from your perspective, what really happened last year with the whole situation with you and Tulisa and the courts and whatever. Like, how did that? What really happened?
There's the long-winded version and then there's the short version.
We want the long.
We want
version.
long-winded. We want everything to be really detailed.
I want to know how
honest.
you met, your friendship, the situation, the end. You know, start, middle, and end, basically.
Well, obviously, if you know me, you know I've been here, innit? So obviously, N-Dubs is a setup. You know, they've been close to me for years. I kind of saw them early. I knew what was going to happen early. I was there when they do around. You know, I was around when the dad was alive. I can remember the first time I saw we was all doing dub play drama together, and I used to have like a little penthouse suite in Hendon we used to all go to after the shooting and do whatever mad thing young kids done at the time. You know the way there. And
What kind of things were those?
like I said, I used to have a little penny over Hendon, and we used to all go over there after filming. But I was just amazed by them. I remember, you know, I've been in this music thing for so long, and I've seen so much not work, and I always remember thinking, you know, if there was a blazing squad that people would actually, you know, that black people would listen to, so it could work. And then I saw N-Dubs, and I was like, that's the blazing squad I'm talking about. And funny enough, they had the same management as Blazing Squad as well, and I just kind of took them under my wing from there. And obviously, in the early days, they never really had people around them.
Sorry, just to break that down. What do you mean by you took them under your wing? Were you managing them? Were you looking after them? Were you their security?
At the time, it was like there was these kids from Camden, and obviously at the time, you know, we're fully active, and I had a lot of people around me, so to speak, at least, is when I had all the kids working in West End doing all the CDs, and it was just a 24-hour roller coaster ride where these lot didn't have no one around them at the time. And a lot of my mates from Birmingham, like, even when you saw Dappy get into that court case last year, one of the geezers in the case was Grinch, who's one of my friends. A lot of the people you see around Dappy in the early days, not so much the new mates, the early ones, they were my mates. And we just knew they needed looking after, in that sense. Me and Baker, you know, big up my brother Baker, he's doing a 10 right now. We kind of knew that they need this, and we kind of took it upon ourselves to kind of, you know, make sure that this, just give them that little bit of, you know.
Street cred?
I don't know if street cred's the word, but the way I saw it, this was talent I'd never seen before. And this needed to go through. And obviously the music they was putting out at the time, the image that they had, it wasn't one that really mustered, and they didn't have the success at that time either. So to a lot of people, they was just these kids talking mad stuff. And but I knew where they was going. We all knew where they was going. The first time I went to a show with them, and I saw 10,000 white kids jumping up and down, I knew it's arrived. And I'd seen a lot of things before that, and this was.
So you was looking after them, and then how did you get to the point where we are now? What really happened?
Well, you know, a lot's happened in between that. Obviously, I've been around them in between that, and I've watched the success, and I've watched where they're going, and I've always been there. But I was never really someone who wanted anything from them. Does that make sense? I never, we didn't need to do songs. We didn't need to do anything. I was just there appreciating this is real. So I was always around Dappy more on and off. Dappy would do something that would Dappy's not the brightest guy in the world sometimes. And there was even a point where I was booking shows for him, and then he would turn around to management and say, you don't know when the shows are being booked, and just bare mad stuff. But as we know, they've always had financial problems. When you watch certain things, you know, the fame never goes with the finances, does it? And they're a prime example of that. So me and Dappy fell out for a while over that. But T was always more 100 than everyone else. T was realer than the rest of them in that sense as well. And she was a lot more about her business. And T never really forgot or never tried to forget who was around her in the early days and who really gave a fuck. She never tried to forget that. And she would always, and even at her peak, she would always yell at me, you know, what's happening, and then I think when all the stuff went down with the sex tape and all that, I think she kind of just got to a point where she was like, you know, fuck everyone.
So her sex tape or yours?
Hers.
I was going to ask.
She was like, yeah, I think she got to that point where she was like, you know, she just wants to go back to what was real to her. And she phoned me out of the blue one day. And I hadn't seen her for about 2 years, and she phoned me out of the blue. And she was like, come see me, we're going out. And I think this was just after she finished the first Xfactor. And I can remember what I experienced that night. She was like, Mike, watch this. And we went out. And it's like nothing I'd ever seen before. You know, this is her at the peak of Xfactor. That Xfactor machine is a machine that cannot be reasoned with, compared to, believe me, if you think you've understood celebrity, you have no idea what celebrity is until you've experienced the Xfactor machine. So going through all that, and T going out of her way to make sure that she kept me close, and she put me in charge of, you know, a good few things. And one of the main things was making sure this gal was all right 24/7 hours of the day. And I got to set up a little firm around it. Big up Jordan and the whole guy and all the rest of it. And and there was a lot of opportunities coming from that. And to how we got to that situation, you know, like I said, I was around T, like when she was with Danny. I was around. I'd make people go and look after Danny. I was always there. Like, I'm a good boss, but I'm a better soldier. You know what I mean? So, it was all very. The whole thing was, we was playing bat at a high level. Also, the stakes are high. You win this game, this is M money. This is real industry money. So, when I wrote my first film, I wrote a film called Oliver. It was a remake of Oliver Twist, and she had agreed to play Nancy, and we was pitching that. And obviously, she had agreed to play Nancy. We're starting the pitching on about 2-3 mil. So there were opportunities that were rising from being in this circle, in this setup, and you would experience things that you just wouldn't experience anywhere else. I remember once going go-karting with T, and it was me, and mate Misho, and Danny, and T. And we're sitting in the car with some guys around the shop in Hatton Gardens after, and I've said, oh, you know, they say they make jewelry, and you'll say, so you can give us something for free then? Yeah, of course we can. It's like that in her world. And so there was a lot of opportunities arising. And then on my birthday, I remember she took me out on my birthday. And then, yeah, like I said, it was just after I'd wrote the film. It was just after we was pitching it. She had gone through, she was just about to leave Xfactor. And as far as we're concerned, she's about to sign this film role. We're about to be £17 million up.
17
million pound up. So we're all on a high. And she took me out for my birthday, and she took me whiskey misk, I think. She turned around to me that night. The night we was up in her house, and she turned around to me and said, Mike, you're the only person who's been around me who never wants nothing. You're the only person I trust. You're the only person.
When you say you didn't want anything, you were obviously being remunerated for your security services.
Yeah, but I didn't really to be honest, I don't really give a shit.
Okay,
like,
that's fine, but I just want to.
Yeah, but to be honest, like I'm like what Megan was saying, is up. You set up businesses, it's a business, isn't it? Like I'm not security. And now I have a firm. Now I have someone who can really do the things that we would tell you we do. But at the time, it was just, well, okay, well, I can make a couple of guys work. Mm-hmm. I can put a firm together, and it helps her out. As long as he gets the money, it helps her out. the journey continues.
Yeah, obviously, I just have to ask about money because you're saying you helped and stuff like that. But we know you very much as a businessman. Your business acumen is I don't think it's crappy. So I'm sure that you was getting remunerated in some way.
Yeah,
so I have to
No,
put
we
that
have
out there
to-
for the viewers.
As long as we cover the bills, everything's Chris. I mean, like, but as you know, in business, it's about the long-term goal, isn't it, Posty?
Were you strictly friends?
Yeah,
Always.
yeah.
Okay. So you're at the house, obviously, whiskey miss.
Yeah, and then basically she turns around and says to me, you know, you're the only person who never wanted anything from me. You're the only person who never asked me for anything. And from here on out, everyone I meet, you meet. Everywhere I go, you go. We're going Hollywood and that's it, bottom line. 2 days later, she phones me and says we're going Marbella. And we're off. And it's like kind of like the whole journey had started. You know, by the time I get back from Marbella, my name's in OK Magazine and Time Out, and this is before the court case. So I'm kind of getting the feeling we're on our way. And obviously the way the situation came about was the guy was obviously supposed to be a newspaper, well, he was supposed to be a producer, and obviously he's kind of dropped it on her like, well, if I can't get this, I'm going to leave the country tomorrow. But we want paperwork signed. There's paperwork that needs to be signed, apparently. And we don't need you going and coming back. We need you to stay here now. So, which fool's going to send someone else there? You know the way there? Like, without getting all into it, but come on, it's better I went there than anyone else went there, really, isn't it? So, I wanted to meet the person as well, more than anything. And that was the main reason for me being there. And then the rest is for the world to see.
So that explains why when that video leaked with yourself and the reporter or whoever that guy was, that explains why you were having a casual conversation for so long.
Yeah, basically.
I think a lot of people watched that and was like, why was he just there chilling, talking?
But to be fair with you, like, whatever people thought of it didn't even really matter in it. Whether it, even if it was just a shot, if I'm there chilling, I'm there chilling. Like, I'm sure everyone's got different shots, you know.
Yeah.
So all of that I don't really care about. But what it was, I thought he was a producer, and I'm trying to keep this guy as happy as possible because we want him to sign this paperwork.
Which makes sense. So let's talk about how things started to fall apart. Literally.
Like your earrings.
No pun intended. So let's talk about how things started to, in terms of your relationship. Like, when did it go wrong? So so it got leaked. We realised that there was something not right here. What was the conversations that you guys were having, and how did it end up that she was going against you now?
Well, when we got back from Marbs, and you guys, like, life has just gone in such a mad cycle. This is mental to me. Imagine you got back from Marbs. I didn't have my camera out for the whole trip, but I could show you pictures of every last inch of this trip. Like, life was great. And then she phones you and she says, right, that was a reporter, and we're going to be on the front of the Sun tomorrow.
So it was still we at this stage?
Yeah. I'm sorry, she's crying, obviously, and I'm saying to her, you know, I got a son in it. And obviously my head just going mad, car at this age in life, I'll leave that for all the trap guys, but my heart I'm not going back to jail. I'm not going to jail. So when someone's telling me this, what your heart's doing is mad, car. If you're spending your life not going that way, and you're purposely spending your life not going that way, for this now to put you in this is mad. So, as that saying go, my ass fell out. But at the same time, obviously we keep it. What are we doing from it? How's this gonna work now? You know, her echoing down the phone, tears, no matter what happens. And her exact words were, I'll go to jail if I have to, you ain't going to jail. That was the last time I spoke to her. And then, but obviously I've kind of got my inklings to what happens after that. See, the thing about T,
What happened after that?
T's real. And I'll give her that. She's realer than 99% of them. I'll definitely give her that. And I say that in a sense of the things that we did do and how she did deal with man before this, she didn't need to. And one of the things I always liked about T was there's a lot of people, and I don't say this in an arrogant or whatever way, And it's kind of like what Mega was iterating here. There's a lot of people that owe me. There's a lot of people that owe me for the way they rap. Let's have it right. And some of the real ones will tell you this. So I always felt like T was one of the few that remembered. But it's cool because she's the biggest anyway. So I always I didn't want to believe that you've been the realist so far. You're not going to fuck me over at the end of this. But at the end of the day, when you're in a reality of a business, in the real world, in the real fabric of the industry, the powers are beyond yours. And there's certain circumstances that all I can say is that I had the same lawyer as Max Clifford, who was Simon Cowell's lawyer. And I can definitely tell you that T didn't have no money to pay my legal fees before this. But all the money got paid in out of an account that's not even worth 100 grand. And all of a sudden she's back in the Xfactor fold and me and her can't be mates no more. So I leave that for the world to work out. But I know what happened. We all know what happened. When the big man put his arm around you and said, listen, you see that? That's got to go. But you ain't man enough or you ain't strong enough to say, like...
Who's the big man?
Who you think the big man is? There's only one big man.
I have no idea.
Listen, I don't even want to get you sued. So let's just... There's a big man. There's a big man who owns half the industry, isn't it? Okay. Yeah? So from the moment he, you know, and I can tell you that her being back in that fold, she weren't due to be back in that fold. They don't even like each other. So I know what happened.
So what do you think Tulisa's thinking now? Having...
T probably don't give a shit. To be real with you. I know T also. T can shut off the rest of the world in a second. She don't give a shit about nobody. That's why the relationship worked. Because I also didn't give a shit about no one at the time either. So I know T don't care about nobody else apart from myself.
So you don't haven't spoke at all?
A few times, obviously, in and out, but...
So have you seen each other anywhere since?
No.
But you've reasoned?
No, they've tried to reason with me more.
And what kind of words were exchanged?
No, through lawyers, really.
Okay.
So what I want to ask you is, like, how does it go from being such a public thing, the altercation, the situation that happened, to you being a free man today? How did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, basically the guy was a liar, bottom line, and it was a setup. So, but he'd also done this he'd done this to a lot of people. I'm sure you saw the Panorama program about him not too long ago. He's called The Fake Shake. And the funny thing is, when it was all happening, I had a guy that I trained with who works for Panorama, and he'd actually told me at the time they was investigating him at the time. But it was strange to just watch this whole show play out in front of you. I mean, it got to the point where I'm sitting in the court sometimes and I'm looking at the News of the World's lawyers and saying, like, how the fuck is this still in court? Like, the world knows what this is, everyone knows what this is, how are we still in court? But then it makes you realise what's actually going on, you know? And the beautiful thing about the whole process of this case was I got to experience the reality of the industry that we're in. And, you know, when you're sitting in a courtroom with the head of CPS, the News of the World, lawyers that are worth over 10 grand a day, you're getting to kind of see the devils argue amongst themselves. And seeing, you know, when you get to the end of it all, who actually controls this business, what this business is. And I was looking at an argument between, you know, the Xfactor machine and the News of the World, basically. And the Fake Shake was just a pawn within that whole equation. It's Murdoch that signs off all the paperwork. So it was just like watching a show that you're just involved in the middle of it. But the beautiful thing was about it was, you know, you're the little dumb nignog throughout the whole process. But it was my decisions and it was my movements which made the thing collapse in the first place. It was the things that I done which made everything come to light. There was even there's one part where they've tried to make me go against her, where they've turned around to me and said, you know, she's basically gonna fuck you up. Go against her and you go home. And I've turned around to them and said, well, I'm claiming I'm there out of loyalty, and if I go against her, then what loyalty does that show? So they was fucking me over for some time. I never got a penny out of the girl. I never got any support, any help. I mean, imagine being on the face of, being on the front of every newspaper in the country, your family, everything. It was crazy.
Is there a point where you felt like you was going to go down for this? Like within
Yeah, no, I was ready to go down for the whole thing. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even so much the going down for it, which was pissing me off, I was annoyed in the sense of, if I was out here, I'd be out here, innit? You know what I mean? But so to be going to prison for something like this, but wherever we go to prison, we come home. That's how it works, isn't it? But it was just more the fact that how I was being dealt with throughout the process. There wasn't any support. I mean, no support whatsoever. So I've lost my businesses. I lost everything through that period of time, and I had no support from her or anyone around her during this time. She's alright. She's living in a £9 million mansion wherever she's living. I'm in the hood still. I'm still around. So I've got to deal with every time I step out in the street, picking up a newspaper, walking. You know what I'm saying to you? So there was no help. And after a while, it just started to they got to the point where they were just taking a piss, and I believe that she just kind of took advantage of my loyalty in a sense of, Mike's too loyal to get upset about this. Mike's too loyal to fold in, so to speak. And in the end, when the case collapsed, there was lots of things that started happening afterwards. I mean, it collapsed because, like I said, he got caught lying about something else. And that's the only reason it collapsed. It never collapsed because she got found innocent or I got found innocent. He just got caught lying and he was the only witness.
Oh, okay, so that's how the case kind of dissolved.
That's how the case collapsed.
So what I want to ask you is, with all of this press going on, obviously, we're going to get into your business acumen in a minute. I know you're a very intelligent person. Why did you not release a song in that week? Why did you not? Was that, obviously, I know, there's some real shit happening. You're stressed out and all of that kind of stuff. But was it a thought that ever crossed your mind?
Come on, Viz knows me. You know me. Putting music out at the right times would never be my strong point, has it? Like, let's have it right. You know what I'm saying to you? Viz was there when we came and spending millions. Like, I didn't care. I don't care about music. I don't care about music in that sense.
But you care about money, though. Because we all care about money.
Yeah, but then at the same time, putting a song out isn't going to make me more money. I mean, the only reason I even put a song out in the end, putting a song out wasn't going to make me more money than selling my story to the...
Oh, yeah, let's speak about that, because you had the song To My Little Sister.
And in the end, the only reason that was even done was because every time I went to Tulisa's lawyers sue more people than anyone else, ever. They sue all of the time. And there was a few situations that came to me after that, which would have added up to a hell of a lot of money. And every time one of those situations got presented to me, her legal team would tell the people that we're going to do X, Y, and Z. And I felt because my truth, and I had no intention of trying to, fuck her over or anything. I mean, when the case collapsed, I was contacting her people in the sense of like, what do we do from here? Because I can now go on and do X, Y, and Z, but I don't want to do anything. Because end of the day, I know that there's still a reality to what we went through. So I don't want to go and say X, Y, and Z, and it's not fitting with, you lot's life, so to speak. So and they wasn't letting me make any money neither. So not only was I in the situation, now we're out of it, because they need to keep up a lie. I can't go on to make any money. So every situation that I was in, there was an incident where the Mirror wanted to buy a story. That money would have set me up for the rest of the year. I can't do it. Legal teams threatened to sue them. And that there was time and time after that. So it was like, you know what?
So for you, it was literally... Oh.
Sorry, Chams.
It's all right.
What's the most money you were offered so that people see like how crazy the situation was? When you say the Mirror offered you some sort of money.
There was a few other situations, but there was individual situations. One was 90 grand. One was 30. I made some money out of it, don't get it twisted. But it was money. It's you know what that world is. So there was her lawyer, like I said, her lawyers would get in front of everything. And it got to the point where it was just like, you're not taking a piss now. Not only are you not telling me what's going on, you won't even you lot are taking a piss. So putting out the song was like a vocal way of putting out my side of what actually happened. Do you see where I'm coming from? Hence why the song's called My Little Sister.
Did you get any reaction from that?
I mean, to be honest with you, what I did originally was I didn't put it out on YouTube. I just put it straight to sell. So I wanted to make sure I made my money first before the YouTube. By the time the video went out, and we put it out on our own channel as well, purposely. So the views don't reflect what the sales were. We probably got the same in sales that we did in views, if you get where I'm coming from. So,
I mean, like from agents, from management, from whoever you mentioned in the song, did you get any reaction from those people?
yeah, obviously going to ruffle the nest, but let me tell you something. T don't give a shit, and the people around her don't give a shit about anything beneath them. The urban world and what's going on over here don't mean anything to them. That's the bottom line. So yeah, she might have been a bit pissed off about it, but in the frame of things, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything to her.
So that must have been a major roller coaster. You're talking about you're going out, you're partying, you're having fun, and then you're just slapped in the face with a huge case, and you're worried about your freedom then. And most of us who do know you know that one of your biggest songs was your Letter to My Girlfriend song, and yeah, like people loved that, and we thought, okay, Mike means this, he's not going back. So when you see that, it's like,
well, that was the hardest thing about it, was that obviously if you know me, and the funny thing is everyone sitting at this table knows me in different phases. Viz knows me. Viz knows a Mike that some of you lot would never ever know. Viz knows a different Mike. You know what I mean? So to go through all the stages that I've been through, and then to be involved in something I've never been knit for grub. You know what I mean? So on any level, so for it to be that, so oh, come on, get out of here, man. But if this is what God's got for you, then this is what God's got for you, and that's the bottom line. So to be honest with you, when I was going through it, what I was learning, and I'm like this every time I get into trouble with the law, every time I get into trouble with go prison. The first time I ever went to jail, my mum passed away. I came out, set up my companies. The second time, I'm an innocent man. I come out, I drop that to my girlfriend. Anytime I've ever been when I first done this book, I was awaiting fibre to come back on a gun charge. So anytime that anything ever happens to me, what I learned from it is always worth more than the situation anyway. It's just you've got to go for it. And I knew from the moment I was going through that situation, I knew what I'm going to experience and learn and understand about the business that I've chosen to be in, which is the business of entertainment.
that's very inspiring. To feel that you can come out on the other end and still have a really positive outlook.
You know, so I believe we are what we asked to be. And obviously, you know me as far as music. I've always kind of felt music's a bit of a, not that thing, but I rap in it, but I do feel. So when I was around T, the industry made sense to me. This experience, if it ain't this level, I used to always say, I have a saying, if it ain't N-Dub's level, I'm not interested. So I'd rather not rap. I'd be around this situation.
So what's your relationship with the other guys now? With Dappy and Fazer?
Yeah, everyone's cool, man. I mean, I think Dappy's nuts, to be honest with you, but...
So you're still in communication with them?
No, I can't. I don't do it with Dappy. I don't do it with Dappy, but...
Why not? I think that's a shame, man. I think kind of knowing all four people in different capacities, like, I think you've all come from kind of nothing to something, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? And you've experienced different things together. It's a shame that
I just think that
moving forward, you can't overlook things.
This game, like it's like we was having a conversation outside with Jay. I just think this game, it's a big show, and some people get caught in the show. And I think sometimes they get so wrapped up in the show that they can't stop the show. And most of the time, they can no longer be my mates because they believe the show. And the reason I loved you in the first place was for everything but that. So when it comes to the rest of them, I wish them the best. But I know their situations. I know why they're still in the situations they're in now. I know how, financially, N-Dubs are living proof that if you ain't got your business together. I mean, the funny thing, you look at Lethal and you look at N-Dubs. Lethal's the opposite. Lethal's someone who will take nothing and keep on turning it into something, and he will squeeze every bit of life out of it. Where Dappy's the opposite. I used to have conversations with Dappy one day. I mean, one day being in the yard with Dappy, and I said, why are you on a label? I don't get it. Like, he come down to the shop with me one time. I never forget. He said to me, "Yo," he said, "Dux, how can't you? Like, you always got money. You always got money, Dux. And you don't do anything." You come to the office. You're like, "How do you pay for this?" I said, "God, I do business, brother. It has to pay for itself." And the same in about half an hour into that conversation, I said, why are you on the label? Because I need the label, Dux. I need to go to America just for a guy in America. Like, we have to go to America. We have to do this. I said, bro, if you put out a song for £1 tomorrow, I sold it to all your fans, you'd be a millionaire. Now, I know you ain't got nothing compared to what you're supposed to have. So why wouldn't you put a song out and sell it for yourself tomorrow? I don't understand the level of it. It didn't even register to him. Do you see where I'm coming from? So there's not too much I could do around someone of that mentality. They was too concerned about what it looked like rather than what it is. I used to say to him, bruv, and I used to wind him up sometimes, say, "Yo, Devlin's taking a spot, you know." Like, I don't think he ever grasped exactly what it was he had in his hands. He was too busy, too concerned with making sure everyone doesn't think he's a dick, making sure everyone doesn't think he's a idiot, or making sure everyone doesn't think he's soft. Because he's a real little youth in his heart. Like, he's real in his heart. And I think he was too concerned with that rather than getting his career. I remember one time at the time, what's the guy done a tune with Jay-Z, the white boy? The one Jay-Z signed for a little while. No, not him, the singer one.
Oh, Mr. Hudson.
Mr. Hudson. I remember one time I was watching Mr. Hudson, I said, "Bro, that's you. That's your spot. And you ain't taking it." You know, the way that he's too concerned with this lifestyle here. That's his downfall.
Right, so on a lighter note, the books. Let's talk about your business acumen, what you've been doing, because I really want people to understand your graft and your talent. You know what I'm saying? That book right there, you know what I mean? That's all you.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
Like I said, the whole Hitman thing about 5 years ago now, 6 years ago. We was in the process of one of my youths was going to jail and I was waiting on Fibers to come back on something. And I remember I went up to Notts, because I used to live up in Nottingham for a little while. And I sat there and I said to myself, I can't do this music thing no more. And I remember actually sitting and saying, I can't do this, but before I make a million out of this music thing, I end up licking over somebody, bro. Or I'm going to end up in jail before I make money out of this music thing, the way I see it. And I started with the book, and I said, I'm going to do this comic, and I'm going to see it through. And at the time, I didn't know how to use the computers, I didn't know how to use technology, I didn't know how to use anything. I just knew that I knew how to draw. And I went and I got all the money I had, and I bought a graphic suite, and I got my office set up, and I just spent all of my time trying to remember all the talents that I knew as a kid. I was in care as a kid, and so when I was in care when I was 6, and from 6 to 13, I was in a home in the Lake District, and I used to draw, and it just coincidentally happened to be that one of my art teachers in this care house, it was a time, I always say it was a time when they actually kind of gave a fuck, where they'd put us in homes that weren't fucked.
Why was you in care?
Because my mum had just not too long come out of jail, and she was sick. And
What did she go to jail for?
just stuff my mum done, innit? We all grew up from a certain era, and I will always just say we just grew up. I'm from that era where there was hundreds of murderers running around with no identification. We're from a different time. You know what I mean? There. So all our parents, all our family were always in and out of wherever they was coming from. So, and my mum was always sick as well. And she got a good grant to send me to this place. And it was a care home, and I was the only black kid there for about, well, I was the only black kid there ever. But it just so happened one of my tutors was a famous artist. He was a relation of the Royal Turner. And another one of the art teachers was a guy called Jerry Blood, who was a famous artist. He painted the National Tour de France paintings, he painted the Olympic rings. And I just started drawing. And they kind of took fascination to this little black kid that could draw. And they, you know, when you got them films, it's like you got them and then was it idyllic moments where you got these, yeah, it was like that. So they taught me how to do everything. They taught me how to paint, watercolors, charcoals, everything. I could, you know, my works were being sold and published by the time I was about 14. So
There's something that's definitely, sorry to interrupt, there's definitely something nice to hear that's come out of the care system, because we all often hear the horror stories, but it's nice to hear that you've learnt some skills that are...
I think we was lucky, and me and my cousin went there. Me and C got the same cousin, Keller. We both went there, and I think we was lucky in a sense. We went to. It was a time when they still cared a little bit, and the irony of it, the fact that I was the only black kid there, and I was the only kid from our situation. This is why I am the way I am today, in a sense of, you know, there was white people who'd never seen black people before, and they embraced me, and they was fascinated by us, and they went out of their way to teach me art, and I learned. And obviously by the time I came to London, this didn't mean nothing to me. So, but every time I'd get in trouble, every time I'd end up in prison, every time I'd get into something where I just wanted to spend time by myself, I would revert back to my art. And I just remember the first time I went to jail, I come up with an idea, and the second time I've developed it, and then finally I said to myself, that idea that I kept on developing every time I went to jail, I'm going to see it through. And I've changed it, and then I'd done the book, I'd done the trailer, I'd done an animated trailer originally, first time I'd ever done animation, and the response was bigger than I expected. I mean, Noel Clark phoned me within about half an hour of me putting the trailer up, and people from over Miramax that was speaking to me at the time, and that just inspired me to just continue with it. I read the book, but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to write comics. I didn't know anything. But I knew that if I produced a product which was good enough to bring to market, I'm going to be in a very strong place. So I just spent my time away and got that together. And also we do the other art. I do fine art. I do graphic paint. We've got our first gallery show in June. Yeah.
So where can they get your products, Mike?
Go to the website www.hitmansagas.com.
And you illustrate or draw every single thing in there.
Everything.
That's all you.
Everything.
Can you open up the page? Because I want to see that it's not really a joke man thing, you know, like it's some serious. Let me get a little, yeah. See what I'm saying?
Would you say you can draw better than you can rap, or you can rap better than you can draw?
I love that question, you know. You know why I love that question? I had this conversation with Spray one time.
Or can you draw better? You can draw girls.
No.
What was Spray's opinion?
No, basically, I had this conversation where I said talent is a reflection of a man's character. He said to me, "You don't reckon you could draw?" I said, "I reckon you could." Like we do this whole thing where I used to go shoot and I don't write, and Spray was like, "You started doing that now." I said, "Of course you can do it." Because obviously Spray's hard, isn't it? You know, his thing really. But I said, talent is a reflection of our characters, rather than it being the other way around. So I said, I bet you if you wanted to draw, you could draw. A friend of mine said something to me one time. I don't know if you know a guy called Leon Smith from Tottenham. You know Smith, you know? And Smith said to me, he can draw. Oh my, come on.
Right now?
The realest thing to come out of Tottenham ever. But he said to me, he can draw. I said, of course you can. He said, how do you know that? I said, bruv, when you was 13 and you was looking in big man's face and you knew they were fools, that's intelligence. Like, talent is a reflection of intelligence. And I believe that we chose music because it was the quickest and easiest way to put reflect our characters out there. Does that make sense? Where if we would have chose something else, for instance, like if you look at football, I love football. I think football is a full reflection of people's characters. Because it's one of the only true things left. It's one, you know, if you look at the success of David Beckham, yeah, he's a good-looking guy, but it was kicking a ball at that square box every day as a kid, which got him there. If you look at, you know, just different styles of players from a Zidane to, you know, Zidane would get the ball and now everyone's playing at his pace.
So speaking of, I want to talk
Mike
about
knows
talent.
about football, you know.
I want to talk about talent now. So obviously, you're here and we've been all serious and that, but you're in the hot seat now, innit? So you obviously thought you was really talented to decide to put out a sex tape. Like you put out a sex tape, and we got to talk about it.
No, I didn't put it out.
Okay.
It did. Well, basically, what happened? I lost the phone at Dappy's house. It wasn't necessarily a sex tape.
So Dappy put it out.
No, it wasn't. Whoever found that phone in that lobby, I think originally thought it was Dappy's.
Okay.
And then It got, but everything got taken down very quickly still. Very quickly. I even got through to the people that do the FBI stuff.
Oh my God, you went hard.
Yeah, there was no way that was staying up.
Oh, so basically you lost your phone and it got leaked. Nah, because I was on xvideos.com. You know. Shout out my boys over there. And you know what? Your name was searchable, you know what I'm saying? Normally it's like Isla Fox, Ayana Angel, you get me? I was like, Mike GLC, what's going on over here?
There wasn't nothing up there though, was there?
Huh?
Was there anything there?
Yeah, it was there. It's probably there now still. I ain't been on there for a minute.
No, yeah.
I've been getting some, you know what I'm saying?
Listen, I'll give you my solicitor's number and I'll beg you sort that out for me. But yeah, no, we got that kind of taken down kind of fast though. But yeah, no, I lost the phone at that piece ages ago.
So also, right, so have you got a girlfriend now?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm not even going to, I don't want to be the one to do, yeah. Anyway, moving swiftly onwards, yeah. Let's talk about when you was in the height of everything. There must have been girls sliding up in your DMs, trying to slide up in your sheets. They must have been excited. Like, let's talk about some stuff. Like, what was happening? Because the fame obviously was, even if it was overwhelming to you, and you're a big man out here. To young girls, excited
you know
girls.
what, I'll keep it real. I hear your name in these sheets. Like, the sheets talk, and sometimes I hear your name popping up.
All right, no, listen, Chams knows. Listen, Chams knows. All right, listen. What did we say a minute ago, yeah? When I was 21, I supplied 160 gal for a Heartless Crew video. I've been supplying gal since I was 19. We're going to get into this now. I've been running an agency since I was 19. I was in Tottenham Court Road at age 19. I supplied models for Westlife, Jamiroquai, Beverly Knight, Gabrielle. All them Soul Solid videos you see, they were mine. But I've been supplying girls for years.
Wow, I don't think a lot of people know that.
No, they don't. The Heartless Crew video.
We've got a dealer, we've got a gold dealer, we've got
Yo,
things out there.
you left out a wrong town.
Wow.
So, I mean, like I said, even the Heartless Crew video, we supplied all the gal for that. So, obviously, as a 19-year-old you, and this is before the internet, this is before everything. If you had a model party, it was a model party. So, you got to imagine, like, it goes... And so that was just an extension of the arm. I was an arsenal before that. So, the numbers are
crazy. I mean, I don't know if you've seen our Saskula interview. He touched on certain numbers.
No, do you know what? On a big man thing, to be honest with you, I always say that I'm happy I went through it as a youth. Because
what?
The girl thing. I'm happy.
400 girls?
No, I don't talk about 400, but to be real with you.
So what's the number? What's the number? Saskula's at the top of the table. He's claiming 400 girls.
That's great. Listen, I'm a big man, you know. I've been out here for years, you know.
He's demolished
Saskula's. No, I'm not. Listen, there's nothing to do with that. Listen.
500.
Listen, all I will say is that in the last 5 to 7 years of my life, that number, whatever I was deep. No, to be honest with you, from the moment I made a letter to my girlfriend, that's what I take. I have to explain to people. You got to understand. I've lived about 4 different lives. Yeah, I've lived more than that. There's what we was doing as youths. There's what we was doing in our early 20s. There's what we was doing in our... I've lived about 4 different times. But what I do know is in the last... Who I am now is who I'm happy to be. I don't keep no gal around me. I ain't got time for gal. Trust me. I don't even phone gal. I don't... Me and Chams had this conversation once. Because right now I got online magazine. I do the magazine. I do the marketing. I said, Chams.
Yeah, but you can't just surround yourself with bare man. You
mean but I can't.
You got relations.
No, I can't. I can't. Right now I'm happy in my own time. I wake up. I go gym.
Yeah.
I get back. I work.
But you got girls around you, but just
to be real, no.
Brethren.
No. I got my baby mother comes check me once a week, and that's about it. But right now, like I'll tell you this.
You see Posty? He's such a sleazeball. He said, "Yeah, right, the baby mother."
Do you know what I want to ask you? Obviously, like having been in radio and TV for quite some time, your name's popped up over the years and stuff, different projects and that. You know that you do business outside of music. I feel like you're sick of music. I feel like you've been sick of it for a while. That's what I feel.
No, do you know what? It's not even that I'm sick of it.
And then you come back with a sick body of work, but I can tell you don't really rate the music game. You're just coming out, this is what I need to get off my chest, and I'm done with it.
That's you know what it is? Sometimes, not even sometimes, I feel, like I said, sometimes it's just time, innit? And maybe we was too early before our time, like way too early.
I think there's a lot of people in the game that suffered from that.
But at the same time, I think it's good.
Yeah.
Like, same reason why we're sitting here now.
Yeah.
The same reason why Mega was up here. I always say, when you look at the people that are really predominant now, I had this conversation with Wiley once. Wiley said to me, "Rao," he said, "Mate, you're the best rapper this country's ever seen, but you never put out music. Why? I got beats for you. And we was at Esky dance, and it was just after about 10 minutes I had to go mad on someone. I turned around and said, look at the crowd. Count the numbers. I said, how much of these are paying £15 a head? You got a bag of man jumping up and down the stage that you're not paying. We never had this. I never had this to work from. When I had the youth standing out on the strip here selling CDs, that was good money.
Yeah, how much did you make from that time, would you say?
Enough to last me everything I was doing.
How much would you say? And what was the operation? How did you break it down? Was it just someone standing?
To be fair, how it started, when I came out of jail, and if you remember, at that time, Dark and Cold was,
of course, yeah,
was the main thing. Big up my brothers, Mike's, Banks, I'll forever love.
They're still doing their thing.
Come on, still at the shop there paying that mad rent for how many years now? That tells you everything about business. Come on. So we put together a DVD, and the DVD I put together was the first time an artist had ever put together a DVD. And we had this product, and we spent shitloads of money in getting this product done and the rest of it. And then there was these 3 kids that used to always sell CDs in West End. I see them every day I was down there. Every day I was down there, so they'd be selling CDs, blank CDs. One was called D-Raw, one was called Daily, and one was called D21, the American guy, remember? And every day I'd walk past these guys, and we had the office in Hatton Garden, Street Dreams. We got Corba, Jerks. We had the building next to the Arsenal building. And I see these guys every day, and I'd be like, every day these guys are out here. So I said, like, one day I said, how much CDs you lot sell between you lot every day, really? And he said, I don't know, about 100. So I was just done a quick maths in my head. So I'm like, cool, come to the office. And they've all come to the office, and we sat down in a room. And I said, okay, boom. If I can manufacture CDs at, £1 a piece, you lot give me about £1.50, £2. Keep the £3. Let's see what we can do. The first day, I manufactured about 400 for that day. They all phoned me at about half an hour after getting that 400 and said, we need more. And I said, fuck this, I'm out here with them. And then what it was, obviously at the time, it was obviously standing in the street selling these CDs, I eat that thing. So I knew if I stand out there with them, bring a couple of my ones with me, give it that vibe, and the money we was turning over on a day-to-day basis, it fed people, and it still feeds people to this day. If I walk out in the street right now, I'll see people selling their CDs, and they will say, Mike, I'm here because of you. So we came up with a mechanism which could feed people, and I can guarantee you I fed hundreds.
Would you say that's the most you've made from all the businesses that you set up?
No, the most I made was, that's what I Beggar was saying, what you said, I was cracking up. Because I've made money during, I probably made more at the agency stuff, to be real, because we was doing it at a time when it was actually proper videos.
Yeah.
We was doing it at a time when it was...
big budget.
Shade you there.
Yeah.
They say just put a Face for Music out of business.
No, Face for Music, Chams dealt with exactly what it is now, and you have to rate that, because I know what it is now. Do you see where I'm coming from? And what it is now, there was a market for it. I mean, to be honest with you, remember when I first had the agency, trying to get girls to do cheap videos was a nightmare. It was a fucking nightmare. Like getting them to...
I don't do cheap videos.
No, but not cheap videos, but you know what I mean, like videos where they're getting paid a couple £100. That was a nightmare, because you didn't even have girls that catered for that. Do you see where I'm coming from? Models were models. Whereas now, the whole thing changed. Now, we had a lot to do with that. At the time, when we started introducing that type of model, there was only another agency called Nikki Dooku. I remember Cartel. There was only Nikki. And a lot of the casting agencies didn't like Nikki. And that was the bottom line. And I used to work with a woman called, do you remember Jane Collins? I used to work with a woman called Jane. And Jane at the time just didn't like Nikki. And I was the only one who had those type of girls. And they'd open your books and say, where do you find these girls from Clubland? Now, the reality is, it was a girl that I was with at the time that the agency was her dream. And it was the girl, she went and had Tyrese's baby. You know, Tyrese got a British baby mother.
I had no idea.
You know the girl. That's her, anyway. So she was my girl at the time, and she had a dream for the agency, and I was picking up deals along the way. And then I met, do you remember Osh? I met a guy who owned a sales company, and he made a lot of money. He made a hell of a lot of money, and he wanted to finance a label. And I came out of prison. I remember turning around to the man and saying, right, I want some money for a label. And they raised up some money for me, raised up like $200 for a label. And I met this other guy who owned a telesales company. And what this guy showed me about life dwarfed everything that what my people were saying to me. He said, listen, I'll give you that money over the space of a year, and you get this business, and this office is yours, and this staff are yours. Do what you want to do, just sign to me. But even as back then, I still wouldn't sign. And I was ignorant as a kid. There was something wrong with me. Like, I'd sit down at Warner and tell them, what you lot are saying to me is mad. I'd sit down at labels and say, you lot are saying mad things to me, I've got a rollie. I'm like, I was dumb ignorant. So I turned around to the youth and said, no, I won't sign to you. And you remember when you put everyone in the planes to Miami? He was wasting millions. This guy had, do you remember the hip hop tour?
No, I can't.
The one we were in Bristol.
No.
This guy would have
it called?
We had the UK shutdown or whatever Rodney was on.
Anyway, yeah.
But anyway, this guy would just waste money over the space of a year. He just wasted money with the music. And he said, I'd finance your agency. And she wanted the agency. I didn't want the agency. And he got into some problems with the taxman. Taxman come check him. I left with all the files.
It's done.
Left with the rest, and before I knew it, I was sitting in Tottenham Court Road and I had an agency. And I'd say I made good money out of that for that period of time. And then when that kind of died, but to be honest with you, the internet killed that. And U-Channel kind of made that not possible anymore. And then no, you made the best of it. You made the best of it. But no, I think, so the CDs was good. It was very good money. It was residual. You just knew that it was making money. We had an operation where we'd manufacture, I don't know, 1,000 CDs a day, and they would go every day.
You had a proper infrastructure going on with the CDs house.
I think the thing that you take from that is that people want to hear your music.
Well, it was.
So why not rap? Now I know making money from it's different.
Do you know what the maddest thing? Danelle said something to me the other day. Danelle, we went to Fecky's thing.
Who?
But do you know what it is? Danelle said something to me the other day. He looked at the stage, go, bruv, if you on stage right now, you probably get an ovation. Like, he said, look, point at the stage, don't you want that? And I kind of, to be fair with you, I kind of don't.
One thing about you aren't kind of an artist. Or a rapper's rapper. Like every rapper you speak to, every artist you speak to, every producer you speak to, they're like, Mike.
When I was watching the interviews, I see both Mega and Blaze said, yeah, Rich. But the funny thing, I was chatting to Rich the other day, and Rich was like, Mike, every time I read a story on the album the other day. And oh, by the way, Rich is going to be doing a 4-part special for the comic where Rich is going to be featured in it. And he said, there's a story that you done once. He said, every time I write a story, I think about that story. So then to watch people, and I know Richard John only got it right, and I know why he got it right.
Now, Richard's definitely one of them people that respects you.
Like, I love Rich. Rich.
So when you see people like Rich and others on GRM, courtesy of Posty, don't you think?
I just think everything's got.
Do you rate it? Or
but do you know when you look at?
Do you rate the game how it is now?
I love it how it is now, but I think we're in like a transitional period. It's like if you look at the States, and you look at every artist that is doing what they're supposed to be doing at this point, they've been here for a minute.
Which is who?
Whether it's Ross, whether it's anyone, they've been here. They're of a certain age. They've learnt the industry. They've been within it for a certain amount of years, and that's how the game goes. And I always say the difference between England and America is that we had different people teaching us the business, and we still have. In America, I don't want to even get cultural, but in America, you had one specific culture of people that taught a different formula to the one that's being taught here. So in America, they teach them a formula of making money and showing other people how to make it and knocking that down. So it's a knock-on effect. From the minute you come around an artist, you know, you've got your credit card, you've got your stability, you've got your situation, and you can knock that situation down to the man after you. And it can knock on and knock on. We're here, there's a lot of individual situations that are working, and that's kind of it. So and if you look at most of the formulas, that what I always say, the U-Channel generation is the generation. And if you look at, I remember once sitting down with the owner at U-Channel, because there was a time, you know, I had quite a good little stake over there. And I remember
Steak, when you say steak, how do you mean steak?
Whoa.
No,
I used to work there too, bro.
There was a time when me and Darren used to kind of really deal with each other, you know what I mean? So there was a time where he'd sit down there and play with the computer and say, "Bro, these last 5 artists are all yours." So there was a certain period of time when we was, you know.
So is that how you lot had it over there at the time, where it was like, because obviously it's sort of like you guys had like a monopoly on the game.
No, we did. I knew how to make channels videos click up on the hour.
Yeah.
On the hour.
So what are you saying? You guys were just watching people and they would be like, "Yo, that's you."
We just knew it was a different. It was a very, very different time, and it was like, you know, if you knew how everything kind of panned out, everyone that was relevant in that time, and now the forerunners of now, everybody, whether you're picking Titchy Strider, Tiny Temper, Wretch, Wiley, Lethal B, whoever you're picking, apart from So Solid. Do you see where I'm coming from?
But I would say that those artists weren't necessarily that banged on Channel U.
What do you mean?
Because when I was watching Channel U and stuff, I weren't really seeing Wretch all day as much as I wanted to, or Wiley, or Time.
You definitely saw Wiley.
Yeah.
What the Eskimo video?
Tiny was.
That's not enough to say that's.
No, there were
Tiny
other.
was.
Listen, there was other artists around. I'll tell you.
He wasn't paying attention.
I'll tell you funny thing. Like big
Tiny
up.
was on there.
Tiny was on there.
The hood song, hood song, and Wifey.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
The wifey was odd
Yeah.
there.
But like even
What
when you
else
look,
did Wiley have though?
Wiley had
Yeah,
Wiley held it down
Eskimo
for a few. Yeah, he held it down for a while, man.
Yeah, they were on rotation, man.
Yeah, there was on rotation, but I just don't think that was enough. But it makes sense. Obviously, the Channel U era was important, but I feel like with Channel U, there could have been more of those artists than what we're. You know what I'm saying?
He's
Like,
trying to shut down Channel U.
I'm not trying to shut down Channel U. I'm just trying to say, obviously, when the internet came, obviously,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
To be fair,
Opened it up a bit more.
Reg did about 40 net, or like 30 net videos.
Yeah.
With
I think what happened was it was like.
I think Wretch is borderline though.
No, but I
Wretch is
think when, do you know the funny thing is, I remember when GRM Daily first came about. I remember I was with I don't know if you remember you, Kevin. Tool used to go. He used to do a lot of F, but like. Yeah,
I know that Kevin.
he used to get money still, but I remember him telling me, "Rah, there's a new channel that started, GRM Daily. Come link." I think he was one of Pierre's brethren. He was like, "Come link me and tear."
What's funny? I don't get it.
And I remember,
at your face.
I remember like thinking like, "Rah, the game needed this." So I think there was a little grey area which was filled in by YouTube by itself, and then you lot came, and again even people like Chams, you know, supplying the dressings for it. So the game came, but I think that at that time with the U channel time it was the numbers. It was the viewers. It was how much people were being seen,
100%.
and that was
100%. I feel like Channel U was so good because it was the only thing we had.
And
you would watch 8 shit videos just to catch the 9th good one.
Listen, and for the level of fame that we was experiencing at that moment in time, it still can't be matched now.
No, 100%. It was a crazy monopoly. When I was 9 years old, I would literally stay up all night just to catch the ill out show. They say like all night just to catch.
No, listen to this guy. I'll expose him.
But on a real note, yeah.
Just tell
He
him.
wasn't.
No, but
you see,
listen. When these lot had a show on base,
unemployed. You wasn't 9 years old.
listen. When these lot had a show on base, yeah.
Just scheming in your bedroom, like, what can I do? How can I get in? Can you do a world star hip hop?
Oh!
Continue.
Bus rolling.
That was harsh.
That was hard.
When these lot had a show on base, even getting to them was a madness, you know. Like the thing about when we came into music as well, yeah. Like this is why I don't know. You had to have money. There was no way you could get into the music at that period of time and you ain't got money to spend.
100%.
And YouTube changed that. But we was coming at it before then. Even trying to get to these lot back in the day, do you know how much like money and effort and quality of videos you would have to spend money? We spent 15 bags on videos that still weren't getting accepted at the time.
Come on.
You remember What's Your Life Like? Come on, it still went. So it was a whole different way of thinking. So by the time U channel came along, it was like, rah, what we can spend like a bag on a video and get played. This is mad.
Having been putting in the work from those early days, though, you did say you feel like a lot of rappers owe you right now. Is there any rappers in particular that you think owe you?
No, I'll be honest. Rappers can be honest in themselves. And I don't even like calling out names, but certain people will tell the truth, certain people won't. But I know this. I know when I first started rapping in the British accent in the way that I rap in it, I know nobody couldn't do it properly. And the only artist that I heard that was halfway decent was probably Black Twang. But he weren't saying the stuff that I wanted to hear. And I remember sitting down in a jail cell, in a prison cell, trying to master this tongue. Trying to say what I want to say about what me and my ones are doing in a British tongue. And that's how alien rapping in the British tongue was at that time.
Okay.
So, Mike, what do you want to tell the people? Where can they get your stuff? Last words. What's next for Mike GLC?
At the moment, we've got like I said, we've got the Hitman Sagas. That's www.hitmansagas.com. Download. We've done good volumes of it already, and support it. And I will stress, this is something for us at the same time, because if this does well, this will open up so much doors and so much other avenues for business in our community. I've also got the art stuff. We've got the fine art. We've got some gallery shines starting in June. I've also got another company called Picture This, where that's www.picturethisarts.com, where if, for instance, you want a night out, we will send a photographer or a cameraman with you. He will film your event. He will shoot your event. We can then turn it into art, sketches, cartoon art. Then we can print it on canvases, hats, t-shirts, whatever you want. It could all be done in a 48-hour cycle. That's www.picturethisarts.com. There's another. We've got Brit Sheet magazine, which I think me and Chams have got to talk about still. But basically, it's an online mag. It's that same old kind of daily gossip, which is www.britsheikmagazine.com. And if you're looking for audition information, casting information, event information, you can register and subscribe with us. And I've also got a photography company, which it's like an agency basically. We have photographers from all around Europe on our books. And that's the main focus really with the music stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I get the business stuff, and that's important, and that's your focus. But let's get some consistency back, bro.
Yeah, you know what it is with the music.
Let's get some consistency.
You know what it is with the music.
back.
I want to do something which is worth doing. I'll be real with you as we're wrapping this up. You know me. If you're over 30 and still talking about trapping and shooting people, and you ain't talking about business and nothing, like you're not saying what the Americans are saying. As much as you think you are, you're not. That's out the window.
So you don't rate that?
Nah. So don't get me wrong. We can talk about where we come from. We can talk about what we're doing. We can talk about, but you know, I've got kids at 25 that are making triple what you man are making. I went out at the weekend with white youths that are brokering deals which are making them 25 grand in 20 minutes. Like, grow up, is what I'm saying. That's that in music. And I feel sometimes it's hard being an adult in a child's game, even though you like the ending. I love rapping, and I can still rap better than 99.9% of them, believe me. But, we've got more content, we've got realer things to say, we've got, you know, whatever you want to cover in life and subjects, we cover it all. You know, the way there. So with the music, I think I've got a project that I'm going to put out. I am going to put out something, but I've got two artists that are coming. I've got an artist called Skins, who's got the tune with Section Boys at the moment. He's got the tune with Section, he's got the tune with Squeeze coming. He's already out and about, but we're going to push him. We're going to be pushing him more at the end of the year, well, just after summer. I've got a guy called Funny from Nottingham, where the world's got to hear him. They've got to hear him, because if everyone's on this, if you're all on this gangster stuff, then I'm like, all right, cool, take this. So I got him coming, and I would like, to be honest with you, I mean, I would just like that I can push the artist properly, and if I can push the artist without being Cop Block by the Little Boys Club. I'll be putting out some stuff of my own.
Alright. Thanks for joining us, brother.
Come on, bless for having me, man.
Right, GLC,
Thank you, Michael.
NFTR.